Freakytable is brought to you by Nikki Hits Beauty Studio, Bonamusadi, Douala, and Jungle Hall, Boya.
Hello everybody, my name is Joan, Gumba, Yana and Ko are joining me in the building. For today we have a special guest and we will be talking about human rights abuse in Cameroon. Case study, of course, the popular cross-dresser Shakiro, who was arrested back in February, convicted in May, and then convicted for like 5 years for attempted homosexuality, and then was released after 5 months, and then beaten after 2 days in public. So now we are going to be discussing a lot about that violent attack and why are the people who did that seem to be going unpunished. There is a barrister in the building, Barister Mafany, to help us explain the legal aspect of all of this. So thank you so much for coming. Good to see you. Elongish, Yana.
Hello.
Always good. Good.
Yes.
So let's discuss. So, whenever I think about human, I'm like, just how much freedom do we have in this country?
So why is it
things not to do? Yeah, why is it even a debate? Like,
Yeah.
I just respect every human being, right? It's our right to respect people. But when you have somebody being trashed on the street by an angry mob and nothing seems to be done to the perpetrators, he's going through medical issues, obviously maybe traumatized from the situation, just because he was seen dressed as a woman. Does that warrant beating?
All right, thank you. First, I'll look at this more from the societal aspect,
Yeah.
cultural aspect, if I want to answer the question if you want beating. But,
But can lawyers just answer yes or no?
you know, most times we love working with evidence to even guide us before answering yes or no. But what I'm going to say is, under no circumstance, if you believe someone is doing something contrary to the law, you lodge a complaint to the right law enforcement or legal body for them to arrest. I heard you say you're already arrested, convicted, and really good. Exactly. Follow the process. There is no procedure in Cameroon like seeing someone you think is doing something contrary to the law, you just beat the person. Mm-hmm. So the act of the mob is, first of all, criminal. Our Navy law is criminal. Mm-hmm. So they can be charged. Now the issue is identifying these people. Mm-hmm. Who are they? I'm sure that is one issue. So we can't just say they are doing nothing. Mm-hmm. You must identify the offenders before they are being punished. Yes,
but given the fact that we're in Cameroon, clearly there are very little or no CCTV, cameras on the street. How, in the course of him being beaten, I don't think his major issue was like looking at the people's faces, who is beating me and how do I find you after this?
Of course.
So who then comes out and says this person was involved, this person? How do lawyers, if I tell somebody who's defending him in court, like how do you find these people?
Well, I'm searching. Videos are out. There are videos from that scene.
Yeah.
A proper investigator. Now, in this case, not a lawyer. I can have that video to help me, but a proper investigator can resort to identifying the personalities. You can get as many videos as possible, or even eyewitnesses. Mm-hmm. People were there who just stood looking at. People were there who know the people in that neighborhood. Yeah. So the problem in this country is the proper investigation. If a proper investigation is open and they want justice to be done for all those who assaulted him, the victims or perpetrators will be brought to book.
Right.
Yes.
According to reports, right, I read Journal du Cameroon, they were, extensively writing on this whole situation. First of all, Shakiro was arrested back in February, on February 8th, at a restaurant in Douala, him and his friend called Patricia, and they were charged with attempted homosexuality, public indecency, and of course, failure to carry identification. Those were the 3 charges levied against him. He was then sentenced in May to 5 years imprisonment for attempted homosexuality, which many international media condemned, as well as the LGBTQ community. And then he was released 5 months after. Now, I don't even know why he was released, if you thought you had sentenced him for 5 years. I don't know why he's being released after 5 months. which he described as hell. By the way, those 5 months were like hell for him. He actually said it. And now he's out. And then people just find the need to beat somebody up just because they think that he is one. Is it because the court levied the homosexuality title or status on him that people, because Cameroon penal code doesn't go with it's against homosexuality, does that give any right to anybody to beat somebody up just you think that the person is homosexual or you think that the person is a cross-dresser? By the way, cross-dressing and homosexual, is it the same thing?
No. Cross-dresser, I'm sure, can be the same thing. That's why I'm saying that those people who carry out that act of assault, they don't have, by law, they might feel emotionally, we don't like this thing. They might look at it culturally or societally. We don't feel comfortable a man doing wedlip, dressing like a girl. Now, those things are normal. Yeah. But by law, that is not the legal department. That's not the state. There are no state prosecutors. And even at that, we don't resort to punishing people again by giving them public beating. Yeah. Allow them to go through the normal process.
So I'm going to read a statement from Shakiro before my guys take over. He says that in a statement after the beating, he was in the hospital, and on the hospital bed, he did went Facebook Live and said that I am a human being after all, and know that this is not my fault if I am like this. I won't charge. That's what he said. I won't charge those who did this to me because God knows what he will do. When I get out of this place, I will stay home, sleep until I die. That's what he said. So now the thing about it is that he mentioned the fact that he won't press charges. Yes. Those who assaulted him. So does that mean that those people who beat him up will go scot-free?
No way, they can't go scot-free. Now, if a wrong is done to a citizen, I believe he's still a citizen of this country. If a wrong is done to a citizen and is contrary to state laws, it is not him in person who needs to press those charges. The state on its own, knowing that assault is a crime against the state, can press charges, even if he chooses not to. Now, he is coming in more like a civil claimant. Maybe he wants compensation. So if he says he's not pressing charges, maybe he has not been properly advised legally. The state can press charges whether he wants it or not. But he may choose not to make any claim for the injuries, for the medication, the amount of money he has spent. He might choose to stay home and sleep and wait, and God calls him.
That's not gory at all, John. It's not at all gory.
Anyway, so Longish, Yana, the lawyers, like the whole thing, right? I know that I think all of us almost heard this thing at the same time, and it was quite hurtful when you heard that. Shakiro was about to, funny enough, Shakiro was supposed to be on the show. The day like 2 days before he was picked up by the police. He was supposed to be on Sunday and was arrested on a Friday. And since then, obviously, he can't make it. So what do you guys think when you heard the news about his arrest, now the beating and everything? How does that make you feel?
How does it make me feel? I look at it from about 3 perspectives, because first of all, Barister Mafany mentioned, there's a cultural aspect to it, there's a societal aspect to it, there's also a religious aspect to it. The thing is, first of all, if you think someone is doing something which is wrong, right? What place do you have to take the law into your hands? That's a legal aspect of it. But then, my issue is these people are, when you always see people who are always publicly against homosexuals or cross-dressers, it almost always feels like projection. It almost feels like they cannot stand the mirror in front of them, that this is who you really are. They're not comfortable living in themselves like that. So they feel like, okay, fine, if this person is doing this thing openly, therefore I have to assert my morality by maybe beating the person. Because it's almost as if they are showing that this is how moral I am. They're showing to the public this is how moral I am by doing this to this person. So it's really difficult to find words for this. But to me, it's all levels of wrong, and it's also indecent, and it's all human. We're in 2021. We've moved from struggling to having the right to go to school, the right to do this, and now the right to even live, and the right to exist as a person, yourself. Because the thing is, my issue is these people who go out beating homosexuals or cross-dressers, we live in a country where we have corrupt officials, right? People embezzle tons of money.
Billions.
And there's a homophobic gate. Nobody has protested against the officials for that.
Was arrested for that.
I feel like the public.
No, go on.
The public there's no manifestations against that. But then you find an innocent man who is just being himself, or a woman who is just being herself, and then you feel like you should be the one to, uphold the cultural values in quotes.
Yeah.
And to me, it's crazy. And you can understand because informed by religious laws and also cultural values, which to me are outdated because at the end of the day, if we are evolving as a society, cultural values and norms have to be reviewed based on the context of the society, based on how we evolve. Because if we can believe that the world is a global village and we adopt global customary laws or global ways of behaving, then why can we not adopt that which is really beneficial to the society?
No, the thing about it is that now there's the world and then there's Cameroon.
That's what I'm saying.
So I don't think we're inside that village. We're just somewhere
like the
outside
bottom
that
of the village. You understand? Now we take everything, but what happens is that what we filter in is the trash. Then leave everything that is good up. That's what happens with us.
So that is pinpointing corruption. Like why we don't fight against corruption, yet we fight against homosexuals and cross-dressers.
Which is affecting you directly, affecting your life directly.
Your money.
That's what I'm saying. Like your daily income. Look at the price of Gary in the market now.
As in,
you see, but then it's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah,
he has a lot to say.
First of all, as we said, that I got to know of Shakiro when we were trying to get him on the show, and I had to reach out to her. I refer to her as feminine because she chooses to be identified as a female, which means that she thinks of herself as a transgender, identifies as a transgender woman. The homophobia is first of all very gendered, or cross-dressing is very gendered. Because I know hundreds of women who dress up like men all the time. And society is never really up in arms towards women who dress up as men. They actually find it cool that she's dressing like a guy, which tells you that homophobia is usually directed towards men, not necessarily women. That's the first thing. There is no shortage of women that you would see, or young girls that you would see who dress up like men, who behave like men. And that's not to say that they too have to be attacked. It is just to put a sociological point that it is mostly directed towards them. You made a very brilliant point that I definitely think that it's in many cases that is projection.
Yeah.
That sometimes when you see people who do not conform to sex roles and attitudes, you want to bully them into that. On the subtext of that might even be that violence, and there is data for this, that some form of violence, and people perpetrate violence towards people who are
the LGBT
transgender, that these people have in themselves an innate desire to participate in that aspect. I think that the state in itself, and this Barister, because the legal aspects of the state makes it in such a way that it is easy for people to already sense that there is an intolerance for that lifestyle. In which case, people think there is some impunity if these people are handled, because you do not see violence against same-sex people. It's not now. There is this guy who used to work with Alternative Cameroon, gay activists, who was burnt in his house with pressing iron. Jesus. And no action was taken. You see that repeatedly. We start seeing it from school, where people are taunted and all of that. It's not like we don't know this, we don't see this happening. It's happening all the time. And nothing is being done. And if nothing is being done, in a way, this is kind of passively saying that, well, violence against these people is acceptable. You understand? So repeatedly, when no action is taken, then you're saying that people can go about, abusing people because they are different. They don't dress like you. They don't sleep with the people that you think you should sleep, which I even think would be a problem if everybody was sleeping with the same people, because you have to be clashing. With people.
But
So
I've always wanted to know, right? What makes people think that being straight is not a crime?
No,
just because the state says that being straight is not a crime.
If you look at it from a biological point of view, let's look at it, as basic as that. right? You know that this is supposed to fit into this. That's what we've been taught,
But there are
right?
different holes. I'm just saying that.
Okay. I mean, we get.
I mean,
that.
if you're going, because some people, the excuse is that,
Yeah.
you know, the Bible says, I'm like, but Cameroon is not a religious state. It's not like the constitution or the penal code is abiding with what the Bible is saying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just that Cameroon is not. People are the world is not a big religious organization. It's not a big Christian congregation. It's not an Islamic come together.
It's not.
People are free to believe or not to believe, and without comes peculiarities as to what you agree with and what you do not agree with. I also do understand that religion forms the moral basis of some people, which should mean that you should not partake in what you disagree in that lifestyle, but you will not project your religious beliefs. I say, imagine that you are in a country where somebody says, well, I think that pork should be forbidden, that nobody should eat pork. It is immaterial whether that person believes that it was given to him by some God. I don't have to live under that. I don't have to live under that. I don't care what moral or spiritual thing you ascribe to. I don't have to live under that.
True.
Yes. So the fact that you think that because you have these kind of religious instructions given to you, that every other person has to abide, is a kind of dictatorship, totalitarianism, and a type of insecurity that I don't even know how anybody.
I think this is a very much holier than thou attitude, where people feel like because if they are connected to the spiritual,
to the divine,
they feel like there is representative on earth.
Yeah, but
that they can say
it's not just religious, because I've heard the argument about culture.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Also
it's
really-
customary. And
You're trying to say,
but
but I have a question. I have a question for the barrister.
Is it not rich how other people, we are so desperate to move out of our countries in Africa to go and reap of the beauty of European and American culture and their development and everything that it comes with it. But when it comes to human freedom, then we said, it tells you one thing. In Africa, I realized one thing. People are not against oppression. They want to be the oppressors.
yeah, I mean, that's really what they want.
But I mean, the law, I know that the penal code, the constitution, the law of Cameroon stands against homosexuality. But those laws were created way back, especially these particular ones, like 1965 or something like that, 1960 something.
65.
You know, and then we're in 2021. Why is that law still abiding? Given the fact that, I mean, people ought to be free now, living the life. You cannot kill somebody just because the person is a homosexual. You cannot want that person to be jailed, the freedom seized from that person just because the person is homosexual.
Question that is Cameroon not ratified to international treaties or this legal?
Because if we benefit from Commonwealth, from UN, why are we not also open to changes like this?
Let me take the first question. That since 1965 and so, yes. Now, from an emotional point of view, you may say, yes, it's a very old law. The world is changing. People are accepting that. Why is Cameroon not moving? But I will say this. It may not go well, pleasant to other people, but
I mean, feel free.
For there to be an amendment of any law, anywhere in the world, not just Cameroon, it goes through a process. Now, until that process has been engaged, that law can't be amended. Now, in this country, we don't have what they call private member bills, where an individual like me, a legal practitioner, can sit in my office as I'm not comfortable with this, and I press on to make a proposal, and the president assent, give approval. It comes mostly from the government. So there is that delay in change, in amending not just the constitution, other laws that have been cried for. I think we still understand the whole course of the English and French law and what has done in the region that we are now. So that's it. So it's a process. So until that process is being engaged, that law will remain there. Now, as per Cameroon not being signatory to, there is no convention on homosexuality that I'm aware of that Cameroon have ratified. We have ratified other conventions. We ratified a member of the African Union, we're a member of the Commonwealth, a member of the Francophonie, and so on and so forth. But now when it comes to a specific set of people like homosexuals, right? It's operational in order. We go to France, we go to the US, I think there are videos all over that you see even in top US officials introducing their...
I mean, the ambassador of Cameroon, the ambassador of the United States, homosexual. And we were wondering what's going to happen to his husband and his wife. We're wondering what's going to happen. Yeah, we're wondering what's going to happen.
So that's what I'm saying, that until these laws have been... Now, Section 44 of the Constitution said that international treaties supersedes national laws. But now we have a national law that have criminalized homosexuality. Now, if there was an international treaty of homosexuality that Cameroon has fully ratified, we can bring this debate that what happened with Section 44 of the Constitution? How do you apply 45, which states that international laws are superior to national laws? So these are the legal arguments. So the whole aspect of Shakiro, it's quite unfortunate, but my argument now is those who assaulted him, they have no legal basis. And even if he has ceased or he has his right to press charges, he doesn't want to. The state is a trial to come up and say, this is a Cameroonian, a state law has been violated, and we have to see how proper investigation. They should use all these cameras, the eyewitnesses, go to the neighborhood and ensure that those who carry out should be punished. If not, you are given a green light that this thing can go on with, and somebody will die one day. What happened to the right to life, which is sacred?
It doesn't matter.
It matters.
Clearly the lives of LGBT.
If that can happen to
it doesn't matter if that can happen. But the thing about one of the questions that everybody has been asking is that even when he was arrested back in February 4 and charged with attempted homosexuality, please, for the love of Christ, I really want to understand what attempted homosexuality means.
Halfway through.
Okay. All right. Let me take homosexuality that I go to attempt. Yeah. Homosexuality is basic understanding is when you're having sexual relation with someone of the same sex. Yes. They didn't say sexual intercourse. Yes. So we have to look at the definition from a very liberal, open point of view. What are sexual relations? It might be kissing, it might be cuddling, it might
holding hands.
There's a way you hold hands with your girlfriend. That one can look at it, that's a sexual relation.
Why is that one looking at it? Is that one a lawyer? Because I'm looking at, let the law be looking.
Sexual penetration also, in this case, doesn't need to be like the normal sexual penetration. They resort it to be in the other, let me use what it says, in the other hole. Yeah. I think the viewers understand. Yeah. So what I'm trying now to say is, when you look at the term sexual relation, it's liberal. You can be kissing somewhere in the public, you can be caressing yourself, you can be giving yourself pleasure using other means that you expect it to be from a man and a woman, not a man and a man. Those are sexual relations. Now, what is attempt under the law? It does define attempt. Yes. Attempt is simply when you embark on carrying out an offense or what is deemed to be a crime, but at the point of carrying that, it was stopped not by your will, but by other forces who stopped you. So if they didn't stop you, you would have carried out that. Yeah. So the penal code identifies attempt as attempting a crime is good as you have carried out the crime. So when you look at attempted homosexuality, that's one to come now. Yeah. There must be evidence to prove that even if he wasn't having penetration, but he was some form of exercising this other liberal relationship moves. I don't have facts of the file, but that is attempted homosexuality. So if they caught them kissing, it's attempted homosexuality. If they caught them caressing in a romantic position, not necessarily meeting them like flagrante delicto in the act. So when they say attempted homosexuality, you look at the word attempt, what is it, and homosexuality. So it says sexual relation. Yeah. So you attempt a sexual relation, but the law has not gone out to identify what amounts to a specific sexual relation. You start bringing inference from other jurisdiction. A man kissing a man, that's a sexual relation. A man giving another man sexual satisfaction, either through the hand, the mouth, and so it's relation. It mustn't be through penetration. Yeah. Those are the liberal definitions.
But the funny thing about it is that the both of them were eating in a public restaurant with a lot of people there, and
they were just feeding him fish.
Who knows?
I can't say.
So, does that also go?
Because that's why he was. The case was appealed, and
why I'm asking is that cross-dressing, two guys dressing as females, does that attribute to attempted homosexuality? Because if they were not doing anything but dressed like girls, does that amount to attempted homosexuality? Since you said we're going all liberal now.
No, and those are some of the lacunas, the lapses. So because most times when the law does not address something, you give latitude for everyone to assume anything. From the legal point of view, I will insist that first, I have not seen video of that particular scene. I don't know if they were just sitting like the way we were sitting. I'm sitting close to him. You know, we may be wearing up male dresses, but what we're putting female dresses and we're having a discussion, does it amount to, you get? Yeah. So it deals with physical appraisal and evidence. So if three of us were dressed in female attire and we're discussing this, or maybe something very important in this nation, can they say that, well, anybody can walk in here and start beating us or assaulting us? No. We don't have anything like the offense of cross-dressing in the penal code.
Mm-hmm. You know that you like about this particular law? It's that it was adopted from France and in that year. And you know, when these countries have moved on, you know, with the times, we say no. I heard that it's not also remember it. To me, it's
so France. But I think that's where you. That's what I'm
saying. I'm just trying to put context to the fact that we are experts at copying the wrong things, and then when it comes to doing things that are going to benefit the common person, because if you look at the laws in Cameroon, it doesn't really favor the average Cameroonian. Yes. It's just to protect those in power, and because those in power know how much it benefits them, they're going to do all it takes. Because, like I said, it's a process. Why can you, if you know that's going to benefit the average person, why can't you speed up that process so that everyone can live in the country peacefully?
Even what process? The process of legalizing, decriminalizing.
Yeah, of decriminalizing.
I think that perceptions of whether of same-sex relations being immoral and all of that are also very ageist. Yes. In that, you know, as society is evolving, people tend to become more and more liberal. Yeah. And so if the political class is mainly made up of very old people, oftentimes octogenarians, if you have these people, then you can understand how conservative the political class, and also it will be reflected in the laws of the country and how this is. But one more thing is that in the discussion, I was shocked by something which I have heard repeatedly about. You go to the comment sections of people saying, you know, he could be corrected through corrective rape, and it's something which lesbians have suffered, where guys gang together and think that by raping them,
they convert them.
They will change their sexuality.
Yeah.
And so people, they were saying they should do that, as if pedophiles do not sleep with grown women and then come and sleep with children. You know, like, you would not change a person, because we explained that the people should try to get a little bit educated on sexuality, because a person's sexuality is not that the person is having sex with the same person. Mm-hmm. So you will be straight even if you are not sleeping with a woman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's your preference.
So
attraction.
It is once you are sleeping with a person, that's you acting on your sexuality, but the sexuality is not defined by you sleeping with a person. So people should get that, because people can. I mean, I know friends who've had threesomes, girls now.
Yeah.
And they are uninterested in girls. Yeah. They do it for adventure and they don't identify as lesbians.
I always make this joke. I always make.
Just to be clear. Just to be very clear.
I always make this joke that you do not know that you're gay until you have sex with the same sex, and then it's a joke.
But anyway, because you can go and see that I want you to see it. I have to stay.
You have to be like, you have to try it. You'll be like, okay, no, this
tolerance truly has to be learned. People have to learn. Just like many people have learned hate. Yeah. And they've learned intolerance. You can actually unlearn it. It's fine. To me, I really don't have a problem if aesthetically you think that it is unappealing to see two girls kissing or two boys kissing or being. It's fine, because one cannot account for what you do not find pleasing. Yeah. But that you don't actively perpetrate violence against a person because you find this not pleasing to you.
And the thing about it, my general point of view, I feel like, I'm just saying, I really do not understand how people think that homosexuals affect them in any way. I don't care. Like, really, if I see a guy kissing a guy or whatever they are doing, or a girl doing that to another girl, my question is, like, how does that this thing that you're doing affecting my money.
I can tell you how.
Wait, hold on, hold on. Let me
If they
finish.
see it too often.
Let me finish. They are going to be.
Yeah, if they see it too often, that's a problem.
Yeah, no? The barrister has to answer one last question before we go. I think that one of the things that Shakiro revealed after doing his prison term, the 5 months, was that they were being chained. Him and the Patricia girl.
Together again.
No, they were chained. Their legs were chained, and they slept in chains in the cell. Is that normal? Is that normal?
Those are the excesses. Those are the excesses in our prison system.
And they had to pay for the chains to be taken off.
Oh. No. That's
what he told Reuters that.
Those are the excesses. Now, if we want to be honest, you can't even appear in court with handcuffs. Yeah. Even if they bring you in, the judge won't start listening to your testimony. We request that they should take off the handcuffs. Okay? Now, not to talk of someone who is already serving imprisonment term, and there is a belief that the person is confined. Yeah. Then you still resort to take chains and put on the legs of both of the same people you're trying to punish, to separate, you still put chains and put them together. So those are the excesses that the prison administration, and that is why, and that's why there's supposed to be a serious, they should change a lot of things, because everything needs to change. I'm not advocating for anything, but I remember a friend of mine in Nigeria said he's still happy with the way Nigeria is because he went through a military regime. And all of a sudden, everybody was just brought down. And new people came up. Because the prison system must ensure that you can't be in prison and you are serving imprisonment term, and so you can't even appear in court with handcuffs and you are chained in the prison. It's wrong. You don't need any procedure. Yeah. It's something that they have to train the officers. They have to stop it. What is the threat? That they are going to move around and get other people engaged in the act?
Yes, that's the threat.
But also
but it's not enough.
But so there is one last thing about him using staging the violence against him.
That was a rumor.
We had a lot of these people talking about it and saying he staged this violence against him in order that he could have
the US visa.
US visa. Does it even make sense, especially that he already had a prison record that he needs to stage?
Because he's supposed to get back to court in February for if the case.
Well, the truth is that we saw a scenario. I'm not surprised. People come with opinions that maybe he did this. I've seen cases where people have really been assaulted, people have been violated, but they reduce none of their want to benefit from asylum when they are really going through so much torture and hell. So for me, that's an opinion that someone can hold. But the bottom line is the act of assaulting him is criminal.
Yes.
An investigation should be open to identify those who carry out that act, and they should be punished. Now, if he comes in now as a civil party that he's claiming, well, someone can argue that he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. So if he's not pressing charges, the state should take the responsibility. Yeah. But if he was pressing charges and he comes to court, you might start seeing the other parties asking some questions that is attacking his choice of being good.
So what we are going to do is that any advice legally or maybe personally, is there any advice you're going to give Shakiro and every other member of the cross-dressing community in Cameroon? Legally, like what's the advice? Because if you cannot dress like that, if you're going to be thrown in prison for dressing like a woman and all of that, what legal advice are you going to give?
I think if I want to give an advice as per homosexuality in Cameroon, I would say the fact that Cameroon has criminalized homosexuality, I don't see it as a human right in this country. It's not protected. They should go to countries that it's been protected.
Wow.
So for the people who do not have the luxury to travel to countries that
like South Africa
that they have been protected.
That's what I'm saying. That for the fact that Cameroon has criminalized it, because when you term something as a crime, you have ceased all rights for you to exercise it.
How about fighting to decriminalize it?
Those are the legal processes that I said. And you also said the age of the people in power, the mentality they have, the moral mindset and so on. Trust me, this particular provision of the penal code will stay.
Yes, for sure.
As sad as that is to say.
Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you so much for coming. I mean, having you here was really amazing.
Finally, I'm on the Freakytable.
You know, and you got really freaky. So thank you very much. I love the law and freaky law. It was really it was really good. Yana, thank you so much. Kwa, thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much for watching. And also remember that this is a show where your opinions count. So it's going to be put up or uploaded on the YouTube channel at Decoded TV Studios. Please drop your comments, your opinions, thoughts, whatever. And we're going to be there to discuss with you. Thank you guys so much. And remember to follow us on all social media platforms at Freakytable. Stay blessed and see you later.
Freakytable is brought to you by Nikki Hits Beauty Studio, Bona Musadi, Douala, and Jungle Hawk, Boya.
Contact Jungle Studios, which is located at Solidarity Junction, Boya, for all your photography and videography.
Thanks for watching the dopest TV show right now.
And don't forget to subscribe so that you can continue seeing our beautiful faces. Scratch that, my handsome face.
Alright guys, and to never miss a thing, follow us on all social media platforms at Freakytable, Instagram, Facebook, and yeah, stay tuned.